Oh, hello, hello. Hi, everyone. It's so good to see you, Shelley. I'm so excited about today because we kind of talked about a very interesting topic today, and we want to bring it to our audience as well. So, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Anna from Microdosing Guru. I'm psychedelic coach and experienced designer, and then I have here my friend Shelley, who is a coach as well and a retreat designer. And together we are creating a microdosing course for women, and it's called Beyond Microdosing. And we would like to talk today about something that not a lot of you might know, which is how you can use microdosing to help with drinking alcohol. Because I don't know about you, but I used to drink a bit of too much wine every night. And Shelley here was struggling with that too, but not a lot of people know that microdosing can be used for curbing alcohol usage. And macro journeys with psilocybin can be used for alcohol addiction. So there's been studies to show that. And so today we kind of want to talk about, our experience using microdosing for this, especially, Shelley's and the clients she works with, because she has lots of clients that are coming to her for that. And, go deeper into this topic, microdose and alcohol, and how the two of them, can be used. I
Yeah,
mean, not together, but
that's such
against each other.
a great intro, and so many things were going through my head when you were talking because it was like I forgot a lot of the different aspects of my own journey when I first started microdosing. I was originally looking to just optimize performance, and I wanted to have more. I wanted to improve my focus at work, things like that. And what I found was when I started microdosing, I had that 2 glass of wine habit every night. And I started to not to forget. I would just forget to go and grab a glass of wine because I just felt great. And so I thought, oh, I came to this realization one night, like, oh, I haven't even wanted to drink. I wonder what that's about. And I started doing some research, and I was really surprised to learn that when Bill W., who's the founder of Alcoholics Anonymous, first started, he wanted to use LSD as a possible treatment for alcoholics. And before it was outlawed, that was something that was regularly used for helping
Wow.
people to combat alcoholism. And I had never heard this before. I was just like, wow. And that made so much sense to me based on my own personal experience. And then as I did more research, I was finding how women who were starting the premenopausal time in their life, as
Mm-hmm.
estrogen drops, what happens is they naturally start wanting to drink more because it gives them that warm and fuzzy feeling that our hormones normally gave us. And so that's why we see alcohol intake increase. There's that time when you're young, when you're out partying and having fun. And then generally, like, we kind of settle in, like, okay, we're grown-ups now. But then what people aren't realizing is as women get older, they're drinking more, and it's becoming more and more problematic because they're not really realizing it. And, people think, oh, I'm just having a couple of glasses of wine, thinking that's rather benign. It's no big deal. But compounded over time, that's damage to your liver. That's, brain function that you're missing. And it's just generally going to create an atmosphere where your defenses are lowered. So, you've had that second glass of wine and you're like, it sounds really good right now. Chips. And so a lot of things start going south when you're on that ride, right? I had gained a lot of weight. And so it's
Yep.
not just for alcoholism, it's really just for like the everyday use that people think is totally normal and acceptable. But then what happened was I started getting clients that would be like, they would know, they would be like, I'm having like a bottle of wine a night. I'm looking forward to that, 5 o'clock hour and popping the bottle open right away. And there was this dependency being recognized. And so I was having more and more clients coming saying, I want to stop drinking. not even just cut back, but just stop. And so that would be the goal. And I was finding that people after a month, you know, were like, yeah, I don't want to drink anymore. And
Yeah.
and then even just people that wanted to cut back were like, yeah, I'm not drinking as much. You know, they might still go with their friends or whatever and have a glass of wine, but they were finding that they weren't drinking as much and having that hangover in the morning. And so it really made me understand how effective microdosing was for alcohol use.
I can totally relate to that because before me diving deeper into working with psychedelics, I was part of a wine club with my girlfriends in Vancouver. And it was just so much fun. Once a month, we would just like gather together, have wines from a certain region, taste it and eat it. And,
Yeah.
we would have, lots of wine. And like I'm a recovering workaholic. As an entrepreneur, I work for myself, and so the line between personal care and my life and work is just like so blurred, and I end up working morning till night. And so when I was working hard, I would unwind with a glass of wine or two. And so I can totally understand because that's how I would, turn off my brain. But then next day I would wake up and I would feel not so great, with less energy, and I would go through this mood swings that I couldn't quite understand at the time, that I don't have anymore.
Right.
And so it would just be one day I would be very happy and excited, and then one day I would be very low and I couldn't actually get myself out of it. And recently, Andrew Huberman, for those of you who know, he's a professor at Stanford. He's a neuropsychology professor, and he studies, the brain. And yeah, I know. And he has a podcast on alcohol and its effects on the brain and on the body. And so basically, he goes into a lot of depth on how alcohol impacts your cognitive functions and the prefrontal cortex that is meant to help you with impulse regulation and impulse control. And so when you drink, you don't have that. And like you said, it's like, oh, now it's fine. I can have that chip. I can have, do all these things that are not actually great for me. And so one glass leads to another thing and another thing and another thing. And then you end up being in this lifestyle that it's not supportive of your mental health, your emotional health, and your overall well-being. And so I think it's important to recognize and to be aware of what are the smallest steps that lead us to, vicious paths or something like that,
And
and
the other,
then
okay.
there is David Nutt. You know about David
Yeah,
Nutt,
yeah, yeah.
right? He's a professor at, I think, Imperial College in London. He's a neuropharmacology professor. And again, he kind of gathered all this data about all the drugs available on the market, and he ranked the harmful effects that it has on yourself and on others. And guess what? Alcohol is at the top, not just for harm for self, but harm for others. So you become more aggressive as well. And you start having fights. Like I remember I used to pick up fights with my boyfriend all the time after having a glass of something. So yeah, I don't have that anymore. I don't drink as much, and I find that actually very hard to say no to drinking because I'm back in Romania and the culture is so immersed in that. Like that's what people do over coming together, and it's hard to break free out from it. But it's definitely helped me feel more balanced overall. So yeah.
That's the other thing that I thought of when you're talking was, so, you have this whole cycle of, drinking, and then you're going to eat more, and then, your sleep's going to be bad. And the other side of that is in the morning, you mentioned not feeling so great, but then the self-loathing, it's like, oh, I did it again. Why can't I do this? So this whole tape that also, it's So it's like it starts at 5 with happy hour and it continues through the next day, because then you're beating yourself up and why am I doing this and why I don't feel good? I need to stop drinking. And then 5 o'clock rolls around and it starts again. And it becomes this really vicious cycle for a lot of people. And there's this glamour in drinking alcohol. Ernest Hemingway said, I write drunk and I edit sober. For a writer, that was a big thing. That I'd put my kids to bed. I would go to the desk at 10 o'clock, pop open a bottle of wine and let that, the mellowness kind of creep in. And I found that I was like, able to write for a couple of hours. But then it was a disaster the next day. And so what I've been finding about microdosing is that is the impetus for helping with my creativity. I don't need a glass of wine at 10 o'clock at night. I can actually write during the day and be, really creative and happy with the work that I'm doing. So I think there's just so many aspects to why it's important to focus on decreasing alcohol use. And if it's a struggle for you, you might want to consider microdosing. So I know for Anna and I, it was definitely firsthand account. It was very helpful. And I know for my clients, and Anna, I'm sure you have clients too, huh?
Yeah. And so I think that for anyone listening and, they're struggling with kind of drinking more than they should or they would want to, then this course is for you. We would invite you to join Beyond Microdosing, because we'll go over all the benefits of microdosing, how to do it properly, how to customize it based on your lifestyle, to listen to other people's experiences and how they navigate this, and just overall a sense of mutual understanding of where you're at in your journey, and how you can move forward and kind of let go of this behaviors that overall don't benefit you. So this is my invitation for all of you to join Beyond Microdosing.
Yes, and it's we'll put the link down below or somewhere on the screen, depending on where you are. And you can go to beyondmicrodosing.com and that will lead you right to the page that'll tell you all about it. We hope to see you there. And in the meantime, have a wonderful day or night in Romania.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks so much, everyone. See you tomorrow.
Thank you. Bye.